All right. You're going out on a date. How exciting and scary. What should you wear? Will I like this person? Am I filled with dread? Am I telling myself, oh my gosh, I hate dating? Or are you being proactive and saying, I'm going to prepare? It's not just where and when. How do I mentally and emotionally prepare myself? What are my expectations? That's how I'm going to avoid disappointment or get disappointed. Are my expectations so high that I'm going to be disappointed? Are they low just to avoid disappointment? Can I just be here, right now, and enjoy the process? Be in the moment. Okay, I'm going to do a predate ritual even. How did you prepare? Why did you prepare? We can be better prepared. That's going to make you enjoy it more. If you go in realistically expecting, you're going to enjoy the date more. What's your routine or ritual to get ready for a date? Does it work for you? Let's be honest. Many people unwittingly go through an anxiety ritual about meeting someone, and it sets us up for a rough experience. I hate dating. Go ahead and say that to yourself. How do you feel? It's a surefire way to put yourself in a bad headspace. Consider this instead. Watch a comedy. Listen to a stand-up comedian. Take a bubble bath. Work out. Walk for 20 minutes. Meditate. And have a game plan. Have a couple stories that you want to tell. And do a feedback loop for yourself. Pay attention to what difference this made. Measure it if you can, and see what you can do to put yourself in a positive feeling state, conducive to dating. You're the one in control of your feelings. You can feel good or bad, regardless of what's happening on the outside. So there's room for improvement with how we prepare mentally and emotionally for a date. What's your ritual and why? Does it work for you? What's your plan for the next date? Create the scenario in your head. What's the story you're telling yourself? The story you tell yourself in your head will either put you in a bad mood or a good mood. It is not the external environment, it's the story in your head. How do I prepare for a date? Well, first off, you're never adequately prepared. It's like asking how you're ready to start dating again, ready to get married, ready to have a kid. But the stakes are different. All right, so life's unpredictable. It's okay to have expectations or preferences, but it's not okay to mandate that life gives you what you want. The world according to Don. If the world is not the way Don wants it, then it's going to be terrible. All right, emotionally prepare to ask somebody out and to go on a date. I can prepare, but like tightrope walking, I have to be ready to adjust repeatedly throughout the process, step by step. Get the courage to ask. Consider how you'll ask and how it's going to feel, whether it's a yes or a no. Remember, you're not dating site, so chances are they're going to say yes. Consider conversation topics that feel good. Some people prepare for how it might feel if they're told it wasn't a good connection. Do you want to be ready for that? I think that's a good thing to do. Not everybody wants to do that. So mentally prepare, just like a sports psychologist. You go through in your head, how would you like it to go? Picture it. Feel the feelings. Think it through, especially how you ask. Have a plan and be ready to adjust. Pay attention to what you want and what your gut's telling you. Good. Don't just rely on your brain. Sometimes your brain says things and tries to trick you. Get your body ready. Shave. Shower with soap and shampoo. Deodorant. Brush your teeth. Take care of the nose hair, the ear hair, the eyebrows are tamed. Make sure you got a good outfit to fit the situation. Does that shirt look good on you? Do those pants fit? Do they look good? Clean, neat, fashionable. Do you smell good? Do you look put together? All right, who pays for the date and why? Bring money. Have some extra cash in case. I've been places that don't take a credit card. I hardly ever carry cash, so having cash is very helpful in those situations. So you have a plan, and then there's reality. Be ready to adjust. What are you thinking and why? Be strategic instead of winging it. Remember, this is important. Consider the other person, their comfort, and preferences as well. All right, how's it going to feel if they say no? This can be confusing, right? So you're on a dating site, and you ask somebody out on a date. Why would they say no? Well, you could be direct and say, are you saying no to the date or no to dating me? Or what if it was a good date from your perspective and they say it's not a good match at the end? Or maybe they were all smiles and friendly, and then afterwards, yeah, it wasn't a good thing. And you're like, wait, we laughed, we joked, we had a good time. Okay, people aren't always direct with that. And especially women are taught to not piss off the guy. I've heard this from a bunch of different women after the date. They say that they liked the guy, it was good enough. It wasn't a bad time, but they wouldn't go back out again. And the guy was completely blindsided. Men tend to overestimate how well it went, and women tend to, I'm going to say fake, but they say, yeah, it was good, but they're not going to be as direct. Remember to respect their time and what and who is competing for their attention. Make it worth their while to spend time with you if it's a good fit. How they feel when they're with you determines if they're going to see you again, if it's a good fit. So how did you get ready for asking out on the date? How'd you get ready for going out on the date? Did you consider the other person and their perspective? Are you interested in them? Are you fascinated by them? Are you asking them questions and wanting to get to know them? Or are you trying to convince them that you are interesting? Again, I am competing for their time. This might sound a little bit harsh, but what exactly am I offering? Is what I'm offering valuable to them? I might think it's valuable, but does the other person see the value that I see? They might not even see the same things in life as valuable. All right, so my ego might hurt, but think about, what am I offering and why? What's my competition offering that's different? How do I stand out? How are they offering theirs? So asking the person out. How do you ask somebody to go out on a date? Can either person ask? How would you want to be asked? There's the direct. Hey, I'd like to take you out to lunch. What do you have available? Or, I would like to meet you in person at a coffee shop. I like this place and could do Saturday at 12:30. Would that work for you? The indirect asking, would you like to go out to coffee sometime? Yeah, that can work. Be direct, go for what you want, be respectful of the other person though. When you're asking, be aware of what you're trying to do. What are you signaling with the words that you choose? What are you signaling with where you're going? Is it high-end, dive bar? Are you considering your partner and yourself? What distance, dress code? All these things send signals. Be informed, be intentional. Let's go catch a drink is different than let's do coffee. Why? Why are you going out at night? Why are you going midday? Why are you going in the morning? Just think it through. Do you have a reason, or are you just winging it? Think it through. So I'm going to keep going back to hygiene because I hear it so much in counseling sessions. Body hair, smells, clothes, brushing your teeth. So many complaints about brushing teeth, breath that smells. Have a breath mint handy for after dinner. The basic hygiene stuff should be part of preparation for a date, work, just everyday life. Get yourself in the habit of getting good hygiene. Are your clothes appropriate, clean, fashionable? Do your clothes match the setting of the date? The lodge at Woodcliff is high-end. It says lodge, do not dress as you're going to a lodge. Not a hunting lodge. Good story, but pretty embarrassing. The point of the date is to get to know each other, right? Are you compatible? How do you even know if you're compatible? Well, you observe, you ask questions, some direct, some indirect. Job interviews are so fun and memorable, right? Nope, it's not really a job interview, but it is, but it isn't. It's more like playing with a friend. How did you know if you were compatible with friends? Did you sit there and ask them questions? Or did you start playing and you either liked them or you didn't? It wasn't all this seriousness. You did, however, pay attention to what rules they followed. Do they cheat? Do they make up rules? Do they play by a totally different set of rules? Do they treat their teammates well? How intense were they? Were they fun to be around? How did you feel about yourself when you were with them? So in the end, do I want to play with them again? That's how it works with friends, right? Why not do that with dating? Remember to actively look for the red flags. We tend to avoid red flags. You want to confirm it's a good decision to meet this person, and that might make you miss signs. Is it worth a date 2? There's a red flag, no date 2. No red flag, I'm going to suggest you go on date 2. So think about greeting. This is so stinking awkward with so many people. How do you say hi when you meet them for the first time? Go ahead and picture that in your head. You're meeting them, you see them, you make eye contact, you acknowledge it's the right person. By the way, I've been on dates before where couldn't really tell if that was the person or not and gone up to a complete stranger and said, "Hi, my name's Don." Embarrassing as heck. Good story though. Is it a fist bump, handshake, hug? Do you talk about it first? Remember, first impressions are huge. I'm going to play it cool. Hey, if you're not cool, don't play it cool. I've heard people talk about bringing a bouquet of flowers or picking her up at her house for date 1. I would say talk about it so that you have some idea of what to expect. Who pays and why? Picture it in your mind. How would you prefer it to go? Old-fashioned, the guy pays for the first 3 times. No, that doesn't mean you get sex or a kiss. Don't ask. Don't treat her like she owes you or you just paid for sex. Ugh. There are people who do that, though. I hear those stories on a regular basis. Behave. Do you split the check? Does she pay? Does he pay? How about the guy who forgot his wallet? Was that a convenient forgetting? Or was that really a true forgetting? If you're going to high end for dinner and you just met, who pays and why? Talk about it. Are you going Dutch? Talk about it. Talk about the talking about. You get such useful information with that process. How would you like to do it and why? So the what and the why. In my office, a lot of women say they'd prefer to go Dutch because if they have their meal paid for, they feel obligated to the guy. They don't want any strings attached. Some women say that they feel like they have to have sex if he pays for dinner. For a meet and greet, stay with coffee, keep it easy going. Can you be more creative than that? If he invites you on his airplane to his family's private island, well, God, those stories always end up with cocaine or bad behavior. Anyway, you decide what your level of safety is and who you check in with. A lot of people who make sure that they check in, who knows that you're out, do they know where you're going and for how long? Sad but true, that's part of preparing mentally. Public. When choosing where to go, how public can you be with that person and why? The initial date, some people are really cautious. Maybe they're separated but not legally separated. Maybe they're not legally divorced yet. Maybe they're a public figure. Maybe they're just scared. How does that feel when the person says, "I can't go out with you in public"? Maybe not in those exact words. Might make you wonder if you'd be dating the person. Try it on in your mind's eye. I had one person tell me that their ex stalked me and wanted to know where I lived, and that was a little bit on the scary side. There were some parts of that made it a little bit unsafe. All right, do you welcome to their car afterwards? Do you open the door for them? That's chivalrous. Do they want that? Will that be offensive? Is it safe for them for you to do it? Do you kiss goodbye after date 1? Hug goodbye? Fist bump? Handshake? I've heard the joke repeatedly about being afraid that he's a serial killer, except it's not a joke. They don't know if the guy's going to hurt them or kill them, especially if they go in for a kiss or want more and they say no. They might even say yes to the kiss to avoid pouting, tantrum, or violence. They might be afraid the guy's going to punish them for saying no. Know that ahead of time it's a common thing. Behave accordingly. Play it through in your mind. Don't want to feel obligated, but they feel like they have to have sex on the first date. Okay, you are not obligated to have sex with someone even if they pay for an expensive meal. You do not owe sex to anyone. If you feel sexual and change your mind, you can still say no even during the process. If someone feels entitled to having sex with you after spending money, that implies prostitution. How did that feel? I don't like that, but that is a true statement. This is screening. You're just assessing the relationship potential. You're in the sorting phase. If you don't fit, it's not rejection. It doesn't feel good, but it's not rejection. That's the story in your head. Might not be their type. They might not be ready. They might get scared. They might have misinterpreted something and created their own story in their own head. They might have been ready, and then, on the way to the greeting, the ex called, wanting to get back with them. Walk yourself through the feelings, not knowing why the fit is not good. Sit with the feelings of telling the other person that it's not a good fit. Most people don't like hurting people. The potential is always there. Are you expecting to date long-term everybody that you meet and greet? That's not realistic. Are you telling yourself you did something wrong if it's not a love connection? Be honest with them as soon as either person knows. You're afraid they might say, I'm not interested, or it's not a love connection, or hey, it's not a good fit. In sports psychology, athletes visualize the outcome they want. They may picture several options. If you want to, you have the option of playing the rejection or not. Play that conversation through in your head 5 to 10 times. Picture it, feel the feelings. Here's what you see. Here's what it feels like. How do you respond? Imagine someone tells you it's not a good fit. What's your ideal response to that? Regulate your feelings. Don't react. Practice, practice, practice again until it's ingrained. The feelings might not be great. You can deal with it. You can manage it. If you prepare for it ahead of time, it tends to land more easily because you're prepared. Practice your response. Try these words if you can't think of your own. I appreciate you being direct about this. I wish you the best. Regardless of what they say, you have a response that could work. If you think about anxiety and the sorting process, you can also look through how to dispute it in your head. So if someone were to say, hey, you're not my type, I could sense that as rejection. I could dispute it in my head. I could say, they're not rejecting me, they're sorting me. It's not that there's anything wrong with me if she says that. I might feel this way, but that doesn't mean I did anything wrong. It just means that we're not a good fit. I'd rather know now than 6 months from now. I could also program into my brain, I will feel a certain way. This is what I will tell myself if this happens. It might still hurt or sting. No one really enjoys being told no. Take away the sting. Look at what the rejection is. Is it rejection of timing? The goodness of fit? Maybe there's something in her life that she can see that she's not able or willing to put out there. Some people see that they're defective or a bad person. That's not the case. Sometimes people say yes to a date, they cancel right before the next one. Look, there's bad behavior out there. There's rule breaking. Or, hey, we didn't say we were exclusive. Well, some people think it's reasonable to assume that if you have sex, you're exclusive. Wrong. You have to make it explicit. Say the actual words. I'm looking for an exclusive, committed, monogamous relationship. Let them know if we kiss or we do more than that, I stop dating other people. What's your take on that? Will you stop dating other people if it gets physical, kissing or beyond? Even if they agree, some people still break the rule. Even if you're dating long term, some people break the rule. Even if you're married, some people break the rule. At this point, though, they know you're looking for reassurance. Some people want to have their cake and eat it too. Sexuality in the conversation. How soon should we have sex? Look, anyone can have sex. That's not an indicator of a good relationship. Doesn't even take that much skill to just have sex. Doesn't make you feel special, and it usually doesn't end up in a satisfying relationship if you rush it. If you look at responsive desire in the book Come As You Are, there's a whole bunch written about liking versus wanting. Yep, the body feels good during sex. The context is wrong for most of us this early in dating. Or maybe it's too early for one of you. From a counseling standpoint, I would also say that this developmental stage of dating is not conducive to going that far if you're looking to develop a healthy long-term relationship. Having sex this early often dooms a relationship. Essentially, you're having sex with a stranger. From a practical standpoint, having sex this early dooms a relationship. You're going to have feelings that are hard to understand and process. It doesn't really hurt to wait. If they can't wait, well, that's good information for you. So skipping a developmental stage, that's usually not good for a long-term relationship. Then there's ghosting. Just don't. It takes some bravery and courage to text someone, "Hey, I think we lost momentum." Or text them, "I've met someone else in the dating process. I wish you the best. It just didn't feel like a great fit. You're an amazing person. I hope you find your person." 30 seconds max. You have 30 seconds. Please don't justify disrespecting someone. Don't use a tired excuse. I don't owe them that, or I'm too busy. Actually, we're all sharing a small community. Me, personally, I would like you to not hurt people. Don't leave damaged people in your wake. Hurt people tend to hurt people. Not always, but it's not necessary to hurt somebody. Just let them know, be courageous, be brave, and you owe yourself that. You owe yourself that and will be able to look yourself in the mirror better. Actually, there's a study on that. We seem to know that it's not ethical to ghost people. We feel guilty afterwards. If you have a conscience, you often feel guilty afterwards. Long term, you feel better about yourself if you let them know. Butterflies. The myth is that butterflies mean that you're in love. Prepare yourself for that. Butterflies actually mean you have anxiety. Don't confuse that with being in love. I would advise you to watch that a little bit more carefully. Butterflies are fun. Feeling in love is fun. Anxiety, not fun. Having chemistry is fun. But none of that matters if you're looking for a relationship. Stay on target, stay focused. Stop basing it on something that has nothing to do with a good relationship. So how's the dating going? I often hear the equivalent of, there's no room for improvement in what I'm doing. I find that people wing it rather than think things through. I want you to self-reflect. I want you to be aware. I want you to plan and have strategy. Think it through. Show effort. Don't do lazy dating. Don't wing it. Yeah, you can overthink. I'm not finding that very often. It's the wingers that really get it. If you walk into a first date or early dating and you're winging it, I'd say the odds are pretty much against you. Let's stack the deck in your favor. Have a plan, some strategy, and let's treat each other with the highest level of respect possible. Let's get integrity in there. Change the culture of dating. Dating sounds complicated, and yet it's simple at the same time. Be you. That's harder than it sounds. Fully you. Don't change who you are. Shed who you are not. Unbecome who you are not. Drop the conditioning. Drop the programming. Drop the brainwashing. Changing how you communicate is not changing your personality. You can learn and use better communication while still being who you are. As a person, you're expected to grow, to develop. You're expected to learn, to tweak some things, be true to yourself, heal your past. When you show up, you're showing up right now, right here. You're not letting the past drag you back. You're responding to what's happening in the moment, in the date, not having an emotional reaction to something they did that triggered an old wound from an ex, or from mom, or from dad. Know who you are. Know what your preferences are. You owe them that. You owe yourself that too. What do you like? What do you not like? Don't change who you are. That's not what we're asking. We are asking you to grow, though. When you make mistakes, and you will, learn from them, own them, apologize if you need to. Check your assumptions. One of my pet peeves is somebody jumps to conclusion, has an assumption, tells a story in their head, and responds to the story, and the other person's looking at them like, what just happened? In politics, we can see that in like a straw man argument. Somebody argues a point that the other person absolutely did not make. That's really manipulative, and that's strategic. So it's not at that level, but think it through. You can simply stop and say, I'm sorry, I don't get what you meant. Assume positive intent. If they said something that really hurt your feelings, stop yourself. Ask yourself, is it possible that I am mistaken in how I heard this? Ask them, hey, what did you mean by that? Be nice, kind, and compassionate, if that's who you are. The bottom line, we have the capacity to debate better. We have the capacity to date better. Look, I don't know your context. I can give you healthy information that's generic. A lot of people will benefit from. I can tell you what the research says. That's a limitation we have here on YouTube. I can ask you to experiment with the research. Go into dating, testing your hypothesis. Be intellectually curious about what you read, what you hear. My advice might not suit you, but work brilliantly for a friend of yours. You be the judge. Keep tweaking the ideas until you have something that serves you, that works for you. Try it on. Keep learning new skills. See if those skills fit the situation that you're in. What part of you gets called out? What part of you has to grow? Where is there room for improvement? Evaluate what worked well. Most people don't do that, by the way. Evaluate what worked well, what didn't work well, what needs to change. That's the default setting here. Yes, I'm a relationship expert. You're the expert on you, though. You're the expert on what works for you. Keep evaluating. So I wish you all the best in dating, and thank you for trying not to hurt people. The people you hurt others. They then hurt other people, who then hurt other people. We make the world a little bit more painful. I appreciate that you're not doing that. You cannot have a successful relationship by yourself. Just with your knowledge, just with your personal work, it takes two. No guarantees, but you do increase the odds if you work on your emotional baggage. You increase your chances of success if you move towards being healthier emotionally. Then, when the right person shows up, you're more likely to recognize them as healthy and a good fit, and then you're going to be able to work together better. While you're waiting, look at your own issues, heal those. Where's there room for improvement? Improve it. Do your work. Discharge those old emotions. Heal those old wounds and triggers. Build your emotional intelligence. Look at how you do conflict. Look at your love languages. Look at what the differences in gender communication are. Be nice and kind. Be loyal. Regulate your emotion. Be kind during conflict. Those are what predicts long-term success. Get your point across directly, but with tact. Having a filter is something that people look for. Speak your truth. Unfiltered? Nope, that's bad communication. Don't go too far. Don't go so indirect as to lose the point. Don't miss the point. And don't sugarcoat it to the point of being fake. So get some mastery, get confidence, move towards excellence. Heal those wounds. Want to know more about conflict? My website has even more in conflict. I also have a YouTube channel that has videos about conflict. Learn your needs. Learn how to negotiate. Learn Bayes' rule and Nash equilibrium. Learn how to compromise on everything except your deepest, most core values. Don't compromise those. So remember, you can prepare yourself ahead of time. Use sports psychology. Visualize what's going to happen. Anticipate it. Feel the feeling. Visualize it. Feel the feeling. Do a repetition. If they say, I am interested, you're prepared. I'm not interested, you're prepared. There's also a great book on rejection. The guy has people practice doing things that are guaranteed to get rejected. As they practice rejection, they change their relationship with rejection itself. Rejection is not necessarily as scary as we think, but because we avoid it and run away from it, we've let it control us and not gotten the learning from it. Again, I wish you all the best.